Hey, and welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Unlimited, where we believe you can live your lifestyle in an unlimited fashion, how you want it, when you want it, and where you want to live. So today's very special. I want to introduce you to my daughter, Taylor. We wanted to kind of have to talk a little bit about like our work relationship. I'll tell you, a lot of us, when we get into real estate or you get into a situation where you have a certain career, I think a lot of us like to kind of push our children down that path, but it's not necessarily an easy path for somebody like you getting into it. So here's my question. So what was the perceived notion, like when I know when I got in real estate and I'm starting talking to you when you're like 14, 15, 16 years old, and I said to you, hey, Taylor, you've got to learn this real estate thing and all these different ideas you hadn't heard. What was your first initial reaction? And be truthful with everybody, because it's okay for us not to get along all the time.
Well, my first initial reaction was no. I mean, my mom is telling me that I need to go into business with her and do the thing that I'm hearing about 8 hours a day, all day long, because she's so excited about it. I'm like, I am not doing what you do. I want to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. I guess like every kid, wants to do their own thing. And I just couldn't imagine myself like doing what you did, because I just wanted to be my own person. And I don't know, it was, I guess every kid feels the same way as I did, wanting to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you came into the company, so like right now, what is your role inside of the company? Because you're not necessarily in real estate right now. You're kind of finding your own path. So what is it that you do right now?
So right now, I mean, I'm in front of the camera today, but normally I'm behind the camera. So I take the videos of all the podcasts, all the little short videos, the reels, everything like that, and I manage all the content, and I get it to our social media managers and all that thing to make sure that we have a well-rounded, outfit for social media and content. Because it's a machine in this day and age, content and social media is.
Well, I love what you're doing. I think you're picking up a little bit of real estate along the way.
I mean, how could I not? I hear y'all talk all day long. Every Wednesday I get to hear about all your viewpoints, all the learning, all the knowledge, and I've heard it since I was 14. Mm-hmm. Hearing Mom on the phone, I used to joke around and I would mimic her calls back to her. We'd be sitting in the living room. I'm like, listen, I can sound just like Mom. And I would mimic her calls, and at the time it was a joke, but now I see it as more of, that's another wheelhouse I have. Yeah, I'm doing videography, but I could have a chance that I can always have another facet to myself, to maybe helping the business in another way if this way didn't work or this changed, or just in different ways.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's not always been easy working with each other, and it probably still isn't to this day. Because I think like you're grown up, you're an adult now. So working with your mom's not necessarily fun when you have somebody look at your face.
It's not fun, but it definitely was a learning curve. I know for both of us, because I know everybody could say like, oh, she should have had a better work and personal life balance, but it wasn't just her. Mm-hmm. I mean, she says I'm an adult, but I'm 19. I'm not that old, I'm still learning how to work with other adults, and working with her, and I had to grow a lot and learn a lot about, work life as well. I mean, I had to learn how to respect her as my boss, not just as my mom anymore. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't always easy. I remember we didn't see each other after work for a long time. Like it took a while for us to get it together. But now I come to your house every weekend for something, whether it be to, catch up on some laundry that I have too much of, or just come hang out and eat dinner.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of funny too, because like even me, like I get into business world, and if you've got one of your children working with you, you've got to be able to turn it off. And that was the hardest thing that I had to learn, because like you might come over on the weekend, you might come over at night, and then I remember something about work, and then I ask you about it. Or I'm texting you at night, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Whereas if it was anybody else, I would not cross that boundary. But because you're my daughter, like, I don't know that I felt it was okay or whatever. So you developed this new thing where you're like, okay, I don't want work mom right now. I want my mom right now.
Oh, Lord. Let's be honest. I cry over everything, okay? Little inconveniences, big inconveniences. And Mom knows me very well. But sometimes when she's in her work mode, she's not ready for the tiny inconveniences of my day. So sometimes I can be like, hey, before I tell you what's going on, can I have mom, and I can have work mom back when we're done? And she's amazing with it now, and I'm so thankful that we have a relationship that's strong enough to where, we can see each other every day, and I still want to see her when we leave, I'm thankful for her. And not to mention, she's helped me and taught me and guided me through so much, and I am so very grateful for all of it.
Well, I appreciate that. It's so sweet. I love you.
Love you too.
Love you too. Do you know what's funny, though? That one thing, though, that you teach me is you can tell me things other people can't tell me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the wonderful thing about, too, is not pushing your children too hard into what you do or too hard into something just because I go at a very, quick and high level. But also, you notice my downfalls with working with other people in our company, too. Like, to where I don't feel like I'm being ugly or I'm being mean.
Or you don't even mean to come off that way, but since I know you so well, I know what you meant. But when you're busy, when you haven't ate before 11, after 11:30, like if you haven't eaten today, I know that. I know just how you are. So I can be like, hey, Mom, it might be good to go back and tell them what you meant, because from what I can hear, I would be crying. But she doesn't mean it in a bad way, but I can tell her that where everyone else would be afraid to tell you things like that. And it also comes with, some too far sometimes that I can be rude when telling her, and I had to work on that as well. But
yeah, the other thing I like about working with you, and you're behind the screen, like if I'm looking crazy, she tells me. Do you know what I mean? Like another videographer might say, "Oh God, you just really don't look good right there."
Or they won't tell you at all. They'll let you go through the whole video looking crazy, or they won't have the right angle. And I can be like, "Hey, Mom, you need to put your hair, or maybe go to the bathroom and fix your lipstick, or just things like that." Which is helpful when you have to look at yourself on video all the time.
Yeah, what I love too is you're 19, you're doing videography, you're listening about real estate, and I hear Gary V talk about this all the time. I think and I love the way he talks about this. Like, to me, I don't know if it was just ingrained to me when I was young. It's like, for some reason, I thought like at 18, 19, 20, like I had to have everything figured out. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And with me having to feel like I have everything figured out, I didn't have anything figured out when I was 19 or 20, right? So then in my mind, I expect that from you. I'm like, I want you to go at a faster speed than I did because I want you to learn from my mistakes or learn from what I learned. But really, when you're working, with like your child or a relative or something, she's got to be able to grow and blossom on her own. You know what I mean? Like, I can't force you to go to college. I can't force you to go do a real estate deal. I can't force you to be a real estate agent. You've got to figure it out on your own. And I think the best thing that I could do, and I'm just learning this, is just be supportive of whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like mother, like daughter, have had 1,000 different ideas about what I've wanted to do since high school. I showed cows whenever I was in school, and I was like, this is it. Because that's a passion of mine. I love animals. I love being outdoors. I love all those things. But so forever I was like, this is it. And then I learned how much school you have to go to be a large animal vet. And if y'all don't know, it is a lot. And I was like, this isn't for me. I did through school. I was pretty good at school, I didn't have to study a whole lot, but I was done with school. I just wanted something that I could learn from while I was doing it instead of it being more technical or theoretical before I could do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So now, I mean, I still have the same passions. it's more of a hobby. It's in my free time. And now I'm doing something that I didn't even know I was going to enjoy. I didn't know I was going to like videography. I just did it because I was like, man, I was working at a daycare. I was sick. I mean, probably 3 weeks out of the month and trying to go to work, and I couldn't ever recover because I was short-staffed. I mean, it's hard to work with kids. And Mom was like, hey, you know, I have this opportunity. You're more than welcome to. It's going to take some adjustment, but I don't want you sick no more. She had
Well, because you was coming home making me sick.
Oh,
Because you were around all those snotty no kids all day. You come to see me, and I was picking up all the little colds that you got from the daycare. And I'm like, man, this just ain't worth it.
No. And I mean, and I'm very blessed and lucky that I even had the opportunity to come work at a job like this to learn and grow, because I didn't know everything at first. And, you know, I'm learning and growing, and it's become something that I really enjoy. It's something that I didn't know I even liked. Like, I'd never crossed my mind that I would enjoy content managing and taking videos, and with you, with Peter, I mean, with everybody. And now I'm like, we got back from the live event a couple weeks ago, and I had took pictures for the first time, and I got home and I'm looking at my photos, and I was like, wow, like this is something that I could do. Like, this was a really great weekend. This was a lot of work, but it was work that I was glad to be a part of.
Well, you know, and I'll tell you, it's so funny. There's seasons in your life, right? Like you're 19 right now. There's this season between 18 and 20 to 21 years old where what your passions are now is not going to be what your passions are when you're 25. Do you know what I mean? It's being able to change and nurture. But, you know, like for me, the biggest thing that I had to get across is that I can't find a path for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to put you down a certain path, and I expected you to have a 35-year-old mentality of this is important, credit's important, this is important, this is important. You got to have it all right now. You know what I mean? And the thing is nobody had it. Most people don't have it all then. And then even if they do, they wind up very unhappy because the seasons in your life change.
I mean, even though you did all that, and don't get me wrong, I definitely made mistakes that I shouldn't have. I mean, because she taught me a lot, and she gave me, like, the most, like, to start out. You know, she helped me with everything to start out, and I made some mistakes. But I still feel like some situations in my life where if you weren't so honest with me and you didn't push those things on me, like to push me to be better, to push me to have a better mentality, to think about things in life, that you showed me how to make phone calls to companies when I needed to. I could call the Wi-Fi company. I know that sounds crazy, but not a lot of people I know don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a funny subject, not even around work. You know, I'm so busy in things. Well, too, I just thought you needed to know. Like when I needed my bill canceled or I wanted to change rates on something.
I was the one on the phone for 4 hours talking to these people, arguing about prices and whether to take it off or not. And at first I was so annoyed. I was like, why can't you do this? You know, like, why? I mean, it's your bill. Yeah. And then now when I'm doing it for myself, I'm like, thank God she taught me how to do that. Because if I didn't know, I'd be clueless. They could run all over me because, you know, they try to get you to pay as much as you can, or, you know. Yeah,
and then you come to me and you said, this is what I negotiate. I'm like, call them back. That ain't good enough.
I'm like, Mom, can you do it? And she's like, no. She's like, you know how. I'm like, ugh, gosh, I do. Stop.
So, looking back, so, and it's not like we have this long realm of things. Do you think it's a good idea if, like, let's say a parent is an entrepreneur, do you think it's a good idea for one of their family members or one of their children to go work in their company?
I think that's a not really a yes or no question. I feel like there's multifaceted, like, of things that you could, but to me, I had a great experience. Obviously, we're still doing it, but not a lot of people have.
We don't fight all the time.
No,
just a little bit.
Every once in a while, but not everybody has the same family structure we do. I mean, I think it's important. I don't know if I would push for your child or your family member or anything to work with you, but if they had interest in it, or if, you know, you thought that they could benefit from it, just learning from someone that knows more than you. I mean, you talk about it all the time, having a mentor. Even just learning from someone who knows more than you, even if it's not a passion, even if it's not something, that's another rung in your belt. And when you're young, having a rung in your belt to make a little extra money goes a long way. So I think learning from someone that knows more than you will always be beneficial, whether it's family or not. So it's just, if it works for you, it works. And that's the knowledge I got for that. So
Yeah, well, I enjoy us having this meeting, and boy, we've came a long way in the last 10, 11 years together. We've been there, through thick and thin, and I think, I am proud of whatever you do, whatever choices you make, as long as it's what your passion is and not for me. Obviously, I love real estate investing, so I'll be wanting you to do that, but that you're not me,
And I'm proud that I get to call you my mom. We go to these live events and you tell everybody that I'm your why, that you never wanted to let me down. And I might not have been as appreciative of that. Lord, I told y'all I cry over anything, but I said I might not have always been appreciative of that or showed that when I was younger, because I just didn't see the sacrifices that you made every time. But now I do. And I'm so glad that I had you to show me where to go and bring me into a business and everything, because I couldn't have done it without you.
Same here. Love you. Well, that wraps it up. I've enjoyed spending time with my daughter Taylor and you. Hopefully you learned something. If you're a parent out there, you're wanting to bring your child into your business, and really I think it's a good thing to listen to Gary Vee on some of his things that he puts out on social media about that. As a parent, you do not have to force feed things down your children's throats. I've learned a lot from that. They do not have to have everything figured out now. I don't have everything figured out now, even where I'm at in life. So thanks for watching.